Welcome to this Discovery Series video with SolarWinds. I'm Technical Content Manager for Community, Kevin Sparenberg, and joining me is Leon Adato, Head Geek.
Hello, everyone. I think we need to talk about governance for just a little bit.
No, you are not the boss of me.
Okay, but I just thought that we would, take a minute and,
No, I'm going to do my thing over here. This is my webcast, this is my video.
Are you like the shadow IT of webcasts now? Like, what is it?
Yes, I am. And why is that a bad thing?
Okay, all right. I think we need to talk about shadow IT and why there's a problem with it.
Okay.
So what is shadow IT? Let's start off there.
Shadow IT is people that shouldn't be doing IT decisions, making IT decisions. It is and it isn't.
No. Okay, shadow IT is the fulfillment of a company saying to IT departments that everyone else is your customer.
Mm-hmm.
See, the reason why I hate that word customer is because if I really have a customer, if I really am a business, I can first of all take that really, really horrible customer and I can prohibitively price them.
Yes.
I can say, I don't want to work with you and I'm going to make it financially worth my time because you're a pain in my butt.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I'm an actual customer and I have vendor A and I don't like that they're prohibitively pricing me, I can go to vendor B.
Yes, but I have another option.
But in a company, none of those things are true. But because it's been repeated over and over again, suddenly departments feel like they have a choice. And so they go to another vendor, meaning they hire their own people to do some sort of IT function inside the department, unbeknownst, flying under the radar of the actual official IT group. Now, in the old days of on-prem, the impact of that was fairly limited. It was somebody doing desktop updates and maybe they were maintaining a different brand of computer that other people didn't want and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
We used to have people that would, after the holidays, bring in their new wireless router because they didn't have good wireless coverage in their office and they would plug it into the wall and now they've got wireless, but that's a private network and it's broadcast.
Right.
And those little things add up though.
Yeah, and shadow IT would be the people who would maintain those small solutions, who would say, okay, IT said we're not supporting your phones, but George, who understands a little bit about computers, is going to be doing it for us.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. But it got way worse once cloud came on board.
Yeah, because what do you need to actually spin up a cloud account?
A credit card.
Yeah, that's it. So, and pretty much every department has someone with a credit card.
Right.
So if I say, you know what, I need a web server, and the server build team says it's going to take 2 weeks, and I'm like, but I want it today. Well, why don't I just build one? I can go into any cloud provider and be like, build me a web server, next finish.
Right, not just a web server, but I want an app. I want an app that's going to help me sell or do whatever my job function is better. And if the IT department won't give it to me, I will outsource, I will offshore, and all of a sudden you have all this work being done outside of spec, outside of company standards, outside of all of that.
Yeah, all the things that are required for your company to continue to do business in a way it's meant to do business. All the rules you've put in place, all the rules as an IT person you've helped define for the organization for safety, security, and maintenance of the organization.
Consistency, supportability 2 years down the road, like all that stuff. So what are some things that we can do to avoid this behavior, this attitude and mindset? And I'm going to start off with this one because I think one thing that all organizations need to recognize is that the impulse that leads groups to have shadow IT, whether it's on-premises or cloud-based, is not a bad impulse.
No.
What they're saying is, I want this thing, this IT thing, to do better, to be better at helping me forward the goals of the organization. That's not a bad thing.
No, because you got to realize all the departments do work together and they all are part of this. They're all part of the whole. And if each one incrementally goes better, then the whole thing gets better. But the problem is that a lot of people see IT as how do I put this nicely? IT, depending on which department you come from, is the place where no goes.
It comes from the department of no.
Yes, it is. I need this thing, and the answer is no, or we'll get to you later, or you know what? It's going to take some time, and that time is so prohibitive that you're like, maybe I'll do it myself.
Right, exactly. So I think the first thing is recognize that it's a good impulse and don't make IT hurt so much.
No.
And that doesn't mean say yes to everything. I think it means just make it easier for requests to go in, to make sure that departments are heard, that their needs are understood, and that even if it's like, okay, we have these competing priorities, this is what's on the table, and someone can say, oh, now I understand why.
Yeah.
And that takes us back to the whole governance thing.
Yeah, it does, because in a lot of ways, there's a lot of moving parts to IT in general. I mean, if you want to talk about just keeping track of issues and incidents and larger scale problems and change control and change management, these are things that they're not small organizational bits. They're very, very large. And making sure that all of this is in a place where you can actually, I don't know, cross-link it and make sure you're actually working with what you want to work
Actually
with.
work together?
Yeah. IT working together, part of that is if you have an ITSM solution, because then that solution kind of binds IT together. And if you have automation to put in there, but you actually have that kind of overlap of, hey, this is where everything goes.
Right, so we're talking about ITSM not just as a concept, not just as a framework, but an actual solution.
Yeah.
So as an example.
As an example, if we want to talk about just something small. You got an alert from your system, so we'll go into our incidents. So your monitoring solution sends you an alert, and you can actually send that right into an incident. Hopefully you have that kind of automation set up.
Right.
So then we'll go see, okay, the server configuration differs from baseline. Okay, you can see it was set by the alert system. Great. Now, is that a bad thing? It totally can be a bad thing. This goes back to other discussions we had about auditing, making sure hardware, software is the same everywhere.
Right.
So if we look at that, we can see the alert came in at a specific time, what the device is, and what the IP of that is. Now, what's beautiful about actually having all this stuff together is you can take this IP and you can search your entire ITSM solution for everything.
Right.
So here's every incident that was related to it, and what's this other asset? Oh, well, it's a domain server. It's a server on my domain. It's doing a specific job.
Okay.
Great. Here's the gear. It's a Dell model, so on and so forth. But what I really like is, here we go. Here's a change. So we wanted to do this. This was a change control. We did make a change in here. And if I need to dig deeper, I can look into it.
Right. I think what we're getting at, there's a couple of things we're getting at. First of all, whether it's this tool or another tool, these are the things that an ITSM solution should be doing. First of all, it doesn't matter which one you're using.
Yeah.
But the second thing is that all the related information is in one place, and everybody who has a stake in it, whether it was a requester or the consumer, or not necessarily the consumer, but the sponsor of it, they all can see where it stands now, where that request goes. I know we were using a simple example that was very, very on-prem, but even if it was a cloud-based concept.
And that's a perfect example of one. A change configuration like that can be a hardware change. When you talk about, oh, well, we all of a sudden got 6 more CPUs in there, we've got 40 more gigs of RAM. These are things you still need to make sure you're aware of, even if that machine is not downstairs in your data center.
Right. So I think this just starts to scratch the surface of what an ITSM solution can do, how it can feed into proper governance, and that helps to sort of dissipate the shadow IT reflex that organizations get into, like, well, if you're not going to do it for me, I'm going to do it for myself, and stuff like that. We also have some white papers on this. We've got a guerrilla guide on it, and we have a whole bunch of other videos in this Discovery series on this and other topics. So thank you for joining us for this one.
Thanks so much.